What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. Please excuse my freaking tent shawl that I'm wearing here. It's very cold in Pittsburgh. It's cold in my kitchen, and it's cold watching the Steelers play. The Pittsburgh Steelers just finished their Week 11 matchup with Cincinnati Bengals. The second time Pittsburgh is playing the Bengals this year. This was our home game against the Bengals for Week 11 of the 2022 NFL season. And Pittsburgh was coming off of a win last week, and all of a sudden the city start getting excited. Well, we're turning a corner now. We're going to get some momentum now. We're going to try and string some wins together. Kenny Pickett's turning a corner. And I very vehemently talked about Kenny Pickett not impressing me last week. I talked about how in the second half of the game, his feet were bouncing around a little too much. He wasn't terribly accurate. He wasn't taking shots downfield. He was looking at his first read and just running. He wasn't reading defenses or throwing routes last week. So even though Pittsburgh managed the game well and Pickett didn't turn it over, and he showed small glimmers of hope, I didn't see much in Pickett that impressed me in spite of our win. This week we're coming into playing Cincinnati again, and of course, the Bengals are a much different team now than they were in Week 1 when we beat them, surviving that crazy overtime game with a lot of missed field goals. But still coming in without Jamar Chase, one of the NFL's best wide receivers, and the Bengals wide receiver one. So Bengals coming in a little bit injured, and it was kind of a question of, well, this is our last big hard game for a while. The schedule stretch gets a little bit easier now once we play Cincinnati. So if we can walk out of here winning 2 games in a row, heading into our easier part of our schedule, things could look up for the Steelers. And you know what? In the first half, I was almost kind of eating my words a little bit. I thought the Bengals were going to win this game. I predicted it. I figured Pittsburgh would fall back to earth a little bit. And in the first half, I was kind of wrong. In the first half, Pittsburgh showed a lot of fire. The defense has been doing a bend but don't break thing most of the year when TJ Watt's out there. Watt came in healthy. Mika Fitzpatrick was back. DeMonte KZ was out there. The defense was relatively healthy in this game, and they were bending all game, but they weren't breaking. They were getting a little more pass rush. They were covering a little bit better. We saw some positive plays on defense. And then the offense. This was our best first half of the entire season, our best total half of the NFL season so far under Kenny Pickett. This first half showed us kind of what we can be, kind of where our future ceiling is. It showed us what we can do when Pickett starts getting a little more comfortable. I was almost eating my words because Pickett started to look downfield a little more. When he was running and taking off with his feet, he was looking upfield. He was looking to try to find receivers, staying in throw position and not going right to his feet. He was making some decent reads. He threw a couple of routes. In the first drive, he threw a nice one down to Freiermuth. He threw a really good route, developing a crossing route to Pickens downfield. And I started seeing Pickett all of a sudden looking more comfortable, taking more shots, looking to pass before running, still being elusive on his feet. He was looking a lot more comfortable. And I started seeing what this offense could be as we got into the halftime, up 20-17. We got a turnover at the end of the first half with a Levi Wallace interception, tied 17-17. And then Kenny Pickett drove us down on a very nice kind of solid dink and dunk drive to get us even a little more than that, more than dink and dunk, but got us downfield to get a field goal and put the Steelers up 20-17 at the half. And Pittsburgh was looking really good on both sides of the ball. They weren't breaking too much on defense. They had a couple of bad drives, but they weren't allowing too much. And the offense was putting things together with Najee Harris breaking a few nice runs here and there, breaking off his second solid game in a row like he did. And then in the second half, we got back to earth. The Bengals made adjustments. They coached better than our players played in the second half. They figured out kind of how to neutralize Pickett a little more, how to get a little more pressure, especially on our tackles. Our outside tackles got bullied in the second half. Dan Moore Jr. had a terrible game, which then led to Pickett kind of being back to the old Pickett. And the Bengals then went on to outscore us in the second half, 20-10, but really it was 20-3 until the last garbage time drive of the game. Pittsburgh was being outscored 37 to just 23 with only one field goal to show for the entire second half. And that was off a TJ Watt interception that we got the ball on our own 21-yard line. So Pittsburgh gets the ball almost in their own red zone, can't get a first down, and has to rely on a field goal. And that was our only point of the second half at all until the garbage time touchdown at the very end. So Pittsburgh does go on to lose this game 37-30. They make it a little closer in the end with that last touchdown. But again, the second half showed us what happens when the rookie quarterback gets kind of outcoached. He starts to get nervous. He gets more pressure on him, physically and mentally. He gets physical pressure and mental pressure on him. And then the defense eventually gets tired. The defense is been playing a little better the last couple of weeks, but the Bengals, even without Jamar Chase, are a pretty elite offense and have a lot of weapons. And got tired in the second half, and that's what caused a lot of the Bengals running up points on us. So here are the stats, and we'll go through it. I'll start with the offense. Kenny Pickett with by far his best game of the season, even though most of that damage came in the first half and one drive in the second half. 20 points in the first half overall, and then just the last touchdown at the end of the game. But Kenny Pickett overall, 25 of 42, 265 yards, one touchdown, no picks. Also, I think 2 runs for about 15 yards. Najee Harris with his second straight game, almost at 100. I think he had 99 yards last week. This week he had 90 more. 20 carries, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then the receivers, George Pickens, 4 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. And Pat Freiermuth, 8 catches for 79 yards. Now, looking at Kenny Pickett, again, the first half, this was by far and away the best half he's played in his entire career. Really like what I saw in that first half. Again, when he was getting outside the pocket, he was looking downfield. He was turning what could have been short runs into long passes. He took a few shots downfield. Those worked in his favor. Overall, he looked pretty poised. He was taking more chances. He was learning more plays. He was being unleashed a little more. The coordinator gave him a chance to do it, and he was delivering more than he was. And he was still inaccurate. He still missed a few wide open guys. He had Deontay on something he missed. Freiermuth was wide open in the middle when it was behind him at one point. He overthrew a wide open. George Pickens ran a beautiful in and out or outside in route, kind of going to a fake on the outside, then going into kind of a post play. Beautiful route. Had the guy's feet all crossed up. Had 10 yards by himself, and Pickett overthrew him. And also a couple other plays where he just missed downfield that he should have gave the guy a chance on. So the accuracy is still a problem, but at least he was looking more downfield. Mentally, he was trying to throw more routes, and he was using his feet to avoid sacks to get into better throwing positions, which is what a pro quarterback does. And he still used his feet a couple of times too to get first down. So all in all, really good first half from Pickett. Second half, not so good. He was getting rushed a lot. He was looking really antsy. He started falling behind on the scoreboard. It started getting inside his head. He was missing wildly on some plays. He was throwing a couple times in a third down, and granted, the offensive line didn't help us at all here, but a couple times on third downs, he was throwing into 2 and 3 guys. He threw one to Freiermuth, where he had 2 guys on him and no chance to catch the ball. He threw another one into Steven Sims late in the game. No chance to catch it at all. Should have gotten picked off. Threw another one on the last drive of the game with 2 guys on Gunnar Olszewski. One of the guys batted the ball up in the air, and Gunnar Olszewski located the ball in the air, dove, and caught it. So it wound up being a completion, but should have been an interception. So he's still making bad decisions. He's still inaccurate. He's still looking antsy. He's a rookie quarterback. But at least in the first half of this game, he wound up kind of showing us a bit better of what he can be. So this was a much more, even though we lost and he didn't look good in the second half, this was a much more encouraging game for me to watch him mentally and watch his projections and watch his reads than it was last week. So I like much more of what I saw. I hope he can put it together for an entire game, because one half is not enough, especially against the Bengals, who are an elite offense. Running the ball, Najee Harris looked pretty good overall. Jaylen Warren went out early in this game. He caught a 3rd and 9 play, a nice pass from Pickett. Got the first down, but then went down awkwardly on his knee. Something he like tripped up. His feet were caught. What looked like some loose turf or something like that. His feet got caught up and he went down. Got the first down, but got back up and started limping, and he was not seen for the rest of the game. They say it's an ACL injury. I hope it's not a tear or anything, because it was a very awkward landing and nobody was really that close to him. So I really don't know what happened. That usually isn't a good sign, but he did get up and kind of hobble off, I think. So while it wasn't great, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a long-term injury, I hope at least. But with Jaylen Warren going down, Najee played pretty much the entire game. Benny Snow got a few snaps as a blocker, but Najee played most of the game. And again, 20 carries for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jumping over the pile for a nice touchdown toward the end of the game. Had a few short catches as well. But I like overall what Najee was doing. Didn't have a lot of daylight, especially in the second half. His long run of the game, I think, was only 13. But again, he's planting his foot and he's going forward. He's not dancing around. He's not going backwards too much. A couple of plays he couldn't help it. He touched the ball 4 yards in the backfield and he got nailed by 3 guys. So there's not much you can do. there. But he made the most of what he had today, and for the second week in a row, had 90 yards and was close to 100. So that is a positive sign for the run game. But let's hope Jaylen Warren gets back healthy, because as a pass catcher, he's a little better than Najee, and he's seems like he's a little quicker, and he kind of makes decisions a little faster. So Najee and Warren together make for a better run game for us. Receiving, Pickens had a good game, 4 for 83 and a touchdown. Had a really nice play that Pickett floated up on it looked like it was going to be kind of a deep post route to the outside, kind of the C route. And Pickens found himself wide open again. The Bengals were confused. Pickens got open in the corner. Pickett floated a nice ball to him. He caught it and backed up into the end zone. There was a deep ball play here. Pickett threw one down the sidelines. Pickens beat 2 or 3 guys down the sidelines and just dropped the ball. Hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it. Really weird to see. I'm not going to judge Pickens too hard because he catches almost everything and doesn't get enough targets. Yeah, even in this game with only 4 catches for 83, he had another nice play down the field where he caught the ball along the sideline that was called back for an eligible man downfield. That would have put him over 100 yards for the second straight game. He also had 1 or 2 plays that he was held on deep pass interference plays that he drew flags for us. So, again, you're talking about what could have been a 150-yard game, but I'll take 4 for 83. That one drop, though, would have gave him an easy touchdown that he needs to catch in the future. You got to bail your quarterback out. Your quarterback's a rookie. Again, your receiver's a rookie too, but your quarterback needs help. Freiermuth had 8 for 79. He was a nice safety valve. Had one real nice play on that good drive at the end of the first half when Pittsburgh got themselves all the way downfield into field goal range. Excellent stuff. Freiermuth catching the ball in the middle, breaking 2 or 3 tackles to extend his run. He did also drop a ball that he should have caught. There was one hit him right in the hands down toward the goal line, and he dropped it. Uncharacteristic. I'm not going to beat up on him too much, but again, when you got a rookie quarterback and a bad line, you got to catch those balls. So that is a note against those guys. Offensive line-wise today, again, they didn't do any favors in the second half, especially for Pickett or Najee. Again, the run game did wind up with 90 yards from Najee, but I don't like overall what we did there. They tried a jet sweep to Steven Sims that got blown up in the backfield. Najee twice had the ball about 4 yards in the backfield and got met by 2 guys right in his face. Daniels a few times got beat for hits on the quarterback. I think he got Pickett sacked once. Dan Moore got Pickett sacked once and also got a Najee play for a loss and got a penalty in this game. He had the only offensive line penalty in this game. And again, that's something else the announcer said that I want to make a point of too. Pittsburgh going the wrong direction and getting themselves in bad first down plays. Either just going for a loss on a jet sweep or a short out, a screen pass, or getting penalties. There was a delay of game at one point on, I think, a false start on Kenny Pickett somehow. There was also that one penalty on Dan Moore, and there was another one holding penalty on Freiermuth. You got to be conscious of those. If you're going to be a below-average offense and you're trying to find your identity and you're trying to get the wheels rolling, when you're in a close game and you're beating Cincinnati, who is one of the top teams in the AFC coming off last year, you can't have those penalties. You can't get into second and third and longs. Pickett's not going to be able to bail you out of those, and he did a couple times in the first half, but not at all in the second half. So, offensive line, especially Dan Moore, pretty atrocious. Didn't like much of what Chooks was doing today at all. Didn't like much of what James Daniels was doing today at all. J.C. Asenauer wound up playing a lot in the second half. I saw him playing center, so I don't know if Mason Cole got hurt or they just pulled him. They should pull about 3 more guys on the offensive line. I'd be pulling Kevin Dotson and Dan Moore and Chuks Okorafor if you can. Doesn't hurt to pull those 3 guys because the line can't get much worse. Defensively for us, we did allow 37 points. Even in the first half, 17, second half, 20. But the first half at least showed some promise. We bent but didn't break a lot. Second half, we got tired and allowed more stuff. Splash plays. Levi Wallace had a nice interception at the end of the second quarter. Burrow threw a ball in the middle. I think he was looking for maybe Hayden Hurst, and it was jumped. The ball was batted, I believe. It was tipped by maybe Terrell Edmonds. I forget who tipped the ball, but Levi Wallace jumped the route for a very nice interception, holding the ball to the ground through the catch. Excellent stuff there. Wallace had a very up-and-down game. Sacks today, we got 2 total. Cam Hayward got 1, and T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith split another one. T.J. Watt also got an interception that was an amazing play. Best play on defense of the day. Gave us the ball on the 21-yard line, and then we failed to get any yards after that and had to kick a field goal, so it didn't help us much. But T.J. Watt was getting blocked off the ball, about 3 yards downfield off the ball, was getting pushed down to his side, was fading back to his right, and caught the ball, was going for a batted the ball back down to himself, caught the ball as he was falling down. Beautiful interception. You don't see outside linebackers or D linemen get picks like that very often, but getting blocked, getting held, falling down, making the catch, beautiful stuff. TJ Watt also batted at least one more ball. Cam batted a ball, and we had one from, I want to say it was Montravis Adams batted one as well, and Miles Jack batted one. So we had about 4 or 5 batted balls in this game. That is a nice sign. But I think the corners had a hard time today. For the first quarter or so, the Bengals weren't really finding any receivers. Again, Jamar Chase, one of the best in the NFL, one of the best deep ball threats. Thank God he wasn't playing today. He was out, and then Joe Mixon, their starting running back, also got hurt midway through the game, so he was out. So even though the Bengals are stacked, they had 2 of their top guys out, and they still found a way. Joe Burrow wound up with almost 400 yards passing on us. I think he finished with like 380 on us. T. Higgins was brutalizing us on out routes. Was giving Wallace trouble, gave Cam Sutton trouble on a couple comeback routes. Arthur Maulet. It's funny because Arthur Maulet had a couple nice tackles today, and he had a couple nice moments of getting his hand in the receiver's chest to get to knock the ball away. A couple nice plays from Maulet, but he really struggled in pass coverage today. T. Higgins was really abusing him. He also missed a couple tackles, one of which he was trying to tackle, Trenton Taylor, Trenton Thomas, some little tiny white guy off the practice squad who I didn't know. Should have wrote his name down, but I don't even know the guy. It was signed yesterday. Made a catch on a comeback route. Levi Wallace missed the tackle and then wound up out of bounds, and the guy went down the field for 35 yards. So Wallace missed some plays today. Arthur Maulet got victimized downfield a couple of times, especially by T. Higgins. And finally then Tyler Boyd toward the mid fourth quarter made some plays on Cam Sutton. So while all 3 of those guys had some nice plays, especially the Wallace interception, they got beaten up a lot by a team that didn't have Mixon for most of the game, or Jamar Chase for any of the game. So again, nothing against T. Higgins and Mixon, or not Mixon, Tyler Boyd, because they are 2 very good wide receivers, very talented starting receivers, 1,000+ yard receivers, but shouldn't have been victimizing on corners as bad as they were today. Special teams wise, Matthew Wright went 3 for 3 on field goals today and didn't miss any extra points either. Perfect day for him, much needed for his confidence. I get scared when he kicks. I trust in Boz. Good for Matthew Wright today. Steven Sims had an interesting day. 7 returns for 154 on kick returns. Had a couple really nice ones. 2 or 3 in the first half he almost broke. Really nice ones to the outside. But then also muffed the opening kickoff. Had to recover the ball in the end zone and scramble out to the 5-yard line to get tackled at the 5 and start us off deep in our own territory. But then later on in the game, he tried to return one around the 5 that was bouncing that probably would have went into the end zone. He picked it up and ran with it, got about 5 yards and got tackled and put us in a bad spot again. So had like 2 or 3 really good returns and then 2 really bonehead plays. So a mixed day for Steven Sims. I like him a lot. He's much better than Gunner was back there, but pretty inconsistent today. Presley Harvin had 2 punts inside the 20, pretty solid day overall. But then he also had one shanked that bounced around the 50 as well. So more good than bad from him today, but still not a great game. So that's where we are now. We lose this game 37-30. A lot of promise on this team. Splash plays on defense are starting to come back. We're getting healthy on defense, but still gave up way too much today. Offensively, very good, promising first half and a regular Steeler 2022 second half. So we shall see what next week brings. The schedule gets a little bit easier. Hopefully Jaylen Warren's okay. Hopefully we'll see kind of what this healthy team can bring in the future. Who impressed you today? What did you guys think? Please tell me in the comments below what you liked about this game and what you didn't like about this game. Why do you think the turnaround was so good in the first half and so bad in the second? Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment on this video and let's talk Steelers, and I'll come back to you guys with my review again next week.